My fiancé's parents demanded I sign a contract giving them my entire salary after the wedding. My fiancé said, "Just sign it." I replied, "Let me get a pen." Then I stood up, walked out, and texted her a link to a Prenup 101 class. Her begging me to come back as I drove away. I, 30 male, am, or rather was, engaged to Bianca, 28. We've been together for 3 years, and the wedding was supposed to be in 6 months. Deposits paid, save the dates sent. I'm a logistics manager. I make a good living, not 1%, but very comfortable. She works as an event coordinator for a local nonprofit, which she loves, but it's more of a passion project salary. Her parents, Walter, 62, and Diana, 59, have always been intense. They live in this sprawling, oversized house that always seemed a bit too quiet, a bit too staged. Walter runs a high-end landscaping business that I always suspected was more high-end than business. Diana is a professional community organizer, which seems to involve hosting luncheons and criticizing other people's hydrangeas. They've always treated me with a sort of polite suspicion, like I was a horse they were inspecting before purchase. Last night, they invited me over for dinner. "Just us, Alex. We need to discuss some of the final wedding details." I walked in, and the vibe was off. It felt less like a dinner and more like an ambush. We ate a very dry roast chicken. Then, as I was nursing a glass of wine, Walter cleared his throat. "Alex, we're so glad you're joining the family," he started, all magnanimous. "And because we're joining our families, it's important we merge our assets for efficiency." Diana smiled, that bright, tight smile that never reaches her eyes. "It's about security, darling. We just want to ensure Bianca is secure." Walter slid a heavy, leather-bound document across the antique dining table. It thudded in front of me. It was not a prenup. It was titled Family Financial Covenant. I opened it. My blood didn't just run cold. It evaporated. It was a contract. 6 pages of dense, legal-ish jargon. But the gist was this. My entire post-tax salary, effective the day of the wedding, was to be direct deposited into a new family management account. This account would be controlled by Walter as the primary financial manager. I would be allocated a personal stipend of $1,000 a month for my expenses, gas, lunches, clothes, etc. Bianca's salary, all $32,000 of it, was to remain in her personal account for her personal discretionary spending. All major financial decisions, investments, savings, my car payments, my student loans, would be managed by Walter. I physically felt the room tilt. This was financial slavery. I started to laugh. I couldn't help it. It was just so absurd. "Walter, Diana, this is hilarious. You almost got me. Where'd you get this printed? A joke shop?" Walter's face hardened. "We do not joke about finances, Alex." You're serious?" I looked at Bianca. She was meticulously studying her fork, not looking at me. "Bianca, you've seen this?" She gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod, still staring at the fork. "You want me to sign over my entire paycheck to your father? You want me to get an allowance?" Diana chimed in, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Alex, don't be difficult. It's just a formality. Walter is wonderful with money. He's managed our family's portfolio for decades. His portfolio being the failing landscaping business he was clearly trying to prop up with my income." "My paycheck," I said, my voice dangerously calm, "is not part of your portfolio." I looked at Bianca. She finally looked up, and her eyes weren't apologetic. They were annoyed. "Alex, oh my God," she sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "It's not a big deal. It's just so everything is organized. It's just procedure. My parents have done so much for us with the wedding." "The wedding," I said, "that I am paying 80% of. This is insanity, Bianca. You're okay with this?" She threw her hands up. "It's what's best for the family. You're supposed to provide. God, stop making this a thing." Then she said the words that ended my life as I knew it. "Just sign it, Alex, please, for me. Just sign it." The room went silent. I looked at Walter, smirking. At Diana, looking at me like I was a stubborn toddler. At Bianca, my fiancée who had just tried to sell me into bondage for what, a lifetime supply of new shoes? I smiled, a big, wide, friendly smile. "You know what, B? You're right. It's not a big deal. Silly me, making a thing." They all visibly relaxed. Walter leaned back, triumphant. "Let me get a pen," I said, standing up. "Wonderful, son." Walter boomed. "I knew you'd understand," Bianca said, smiling with relief. I patted my jacket pocket. "Ah, shoot. I must have left my good pen in the car. Be right back. I walked out of the dining room. I walked down their marble-floored hallway. I grabbed my jacket and my keys from the hook. I opened their heavy front door. Alex, where are you going? Bianca called from the dining room, her voice laced with confusion. To get a pen, I called back. I walked out the front door. I walked down their perfectly manicured stone path. I got in my car. I turned the engine on. The front door burst open. Bianca ran out onto the driveway, barefoot, her face a mask of pure confusion. Alex, what are you doing? Get back inside. You're embarrassing me. I rolled down the window. No, Bianca, you embarrassed yourself, you and your parents. She started to look panicked. What are you? Alex, stop. You're overreacting. I pulled out my phone. I Googled Prenuptial Agreements 101. I found a link to a basic online legal resource. I copied it. I texted it to her. You might need this. Alex, don't you dare, she shrieked, starting to cry as she realized what was happening. You can't leave. Come back. We can talk about the stipend. I put the car in reverse. Tell your dad his covenant has a breach. Goodbye, Bianca. I backed out of the driveway, her screaming my name, begging me to come back. It was the most satisfying and most heartbreaking sound I've ever heard. I drove home. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage, and a weird, cold clarity. She wasn't my partner. She was their asset scout. I got to my apartment. Thank God we never moved in together. I always insisted on keeping my place. I sat down and I got to work. First call. My credit card company. Bianca was an authorized user on my primary card, the one she'd been using for wedding incidentals. Revoked, effective immediately. Second call. The venue. I'd put down the $10,000 deposit. I knew it was non-refundable. I called and canceled. Personal reasons, I said. The engagement is off, irreconcilably. I ate the $10. It hurt, but it was a hell of a lot cheaper than my entire future. Third call. The caterer. Another $5,000 deposit. Gone. Fourth task. The honeymoon fund. This was our artifact. We had a joint high-yield savings account just for the trip. I'd been auto-depositing $1,500 a month for 10 months. Total, I'd put in $15,000. She'd put in. I checked the statements. $500. I transferred my $15,000 to a new private account. I then Venmo'd her $500. The caption, honeymoon fund contribution. Then I closed the joint account. Last, I looked at the box on my dresser. The ring. $20,000. Paid for by me on my credit card, 0% APR. I'm a logistics guy. I like efficiency. It's a conditional gift. The condition just exploded. This was going to be the hard part. Update 1. It's been a week. My life is a raging dumpster fire, but I'm the one holding the matches, so I feel. Okay? First, thank you for the comments. Validating to know that I'm not the crazy one. The 72 hours after I drove away were loud. My phone was a nuclear reactor of notifications. I didn't answer. I let them all go to voicemail. It was a beautiful, horrifying symphony of entitlement. Voicemail highlights. 14 missed calls. VM1. Alex, you're scaring me. You drove off. You're overreacting. Come back, please. We can talk, baby. We can make the stipend $1,500. Just come back. I just got an alert. You canceled the card? The one for the flowers. How dare you? My mom is having a panic attack. You turn that card back on right now, you bastard. Alex. I just called the venue. They said you canceled. You canceled the wedding without talking to me. How could you? That was our money, Alex. Our deposit. Spoiler. It was my money. Diana assist calls. VM1. Alexander. You have caused my daughter and this family an incredible amount of distress. You humiliated her by walking out of our home. Walter is disappointed. You need to call us immediately and apologize so we can salvage this situation. You canceled the caterer. You lost that money. Are you insane? You owe us that money. You will pay for this. You will not ruin my daughter's wedding. Walter missed calls. VM1. Alex, you made a rash, emotional decision. You misunderstood a simple financial proposal. A sign of immaturity. Call me back. We can renegotiate your stipend. Don't be a fool and throw away a woman like Bianca. They were so focused on the money I lost in deposits, they didn't even grasp that I was saving all my future money. The delusion is staggering. Now for the revenge, or as I call it, consequence management. I had one last awful thing to do. The ring. I was not eating a $20,000 loss. It's a conditional gift, and the condition, marriage, was terminated by her and her family's attempted extortion. I sent her one simple text. Bianca, the engagement is over. I will be at your office at 5 p.m. on Friday to collect the ring. If it is not returned to me at that time, I will file a police report for theft and a civil suit for its full value. I got a flurry of call me texts. I ignored them. Friday at 5 p.m., I stood on the sidewalk outside the nonprofit she works at. She came out, eyes puffy, looking wrecked. Good. Alex, she whispered, you're not even going to talk to me? The ring, Bianca? My voice sounded like gravel. Please don't do this. I love you. The ring. She started to cry. I don't have it. My stomach clenched. What do you mean you don't have it? I gave it to my mom for safekeeping. After you know. So call her. Tell her to bring it here. She can't, Bianca sobbed. She said it's a non-refundable deposit for my pain and suffering. I actually laughed, a short, bark-like laugh. Pain and suffering? For what? For being an accomplice in your parents' plan to steal my salary? It wasn't stealing. It was family, she shrieked, right there on the sidewalk. You are ruining my life. My friends all bought their dresses. The venue? You canceled the venue? I thought that was a joke. You just realized that. You can't do this. I'm suing you for the wedding costs. You owe me. Sue me for what, Bianca? The $15,000 in deposits I paid? Go for it. Now for the last time, give me the ring or I'm calling the police right now. She completely broke down. I can't. Why not? Because she sold it. The world stopped. She what? We needed the money, she wailed. The caterer, they sent us a bill for the cancellation fee. It was $5,000. We had to pay it. Mom used the ring. She said it was your contribution to the cancellation. They sold a $20,000 ring to pay a $5,000 cancellation fee. No, that's not what happened. They sold a $20,000 ring because they're broke and they're thieves. The cancellation fee was just a convenient excuse. I just stared at her. The woman I was going to marry. A common thief. Okay, I said, pulling out my phone. What are you doing? I'm filing the police report and a civil suit against you, your mother, and your father for the full value of the ring. You just admitted to converting my property. No, Alex, wait, please, I'll get it back. I'll get the money. Please don't do this. She actually grabbed my arm. I shook it off. Get the money for the judge, Bianca. I turned and walked away, her screaming, I love you. You're destroying my life at my back. I'm now out $15 in deposits and a $20 ring. This is no longer about a broken heart. It's about recovery. My lawyer is thrilled. Final update. It's been 4 months. Welcome to the thrilling conclusion of my financial and romantic nightmare. The legal battle was, in a word, disgusting. As promised, I filed a civil suit for the $20,000 value of the ring. I named Bianca, Walter, and Diana as co-defendants. Filing the police report was a process. The first cop I spoke to gave me the "it's a civil matter, sir" brush off. I came back with my lawyer. She's your fiancée, sir. My lawyer? She was. And she admitted in a verbal statement to my client that she took the conditional gift, gave it to her mother, who then sold it without my client's permission to, and I quote, pay a cancellation fee. That is textbook theft by conversion. We are here to make a record of that admission. They finally took the report. It was a he said, she said, but it was on record. That report was critical. Now, the dirty trick. The entitlement didn't just escalate, it went scorched earth. Walter, Diana, and Bianca lawyered up with some relative who looked like he moonlighted as a personal injury ambulance chaser. Their defense was art. They claimed the ring was an irrevocable gift. I had verbally agreed to the family financial covenant and then backed out in bad faith. They, and I am not joking, countersued me. They were countersuing for $50,000 for the entire cost of the wedding that I had mostly paid for, and $100,000 for Bianca's emotional distress and public humiliation. They were suing me for $150,000 because I refused to become their indentured servant. I was stressed. I was paying my lawyer. This was not the clean getaway I'd hoped for. But here's the thing about being a logistics manager. I am a maniac for records. I didn't just have my feelings, I had data. I had the original $20,000 ring receipt in my name paid for my bank account. The bank statements for all $15,000 of the deposits paid for my account. The Venmo transaction for the $500 honeymoon fund contribution. And my lawyer's favorite part, the voicemails. All of them. Saved, backed up, and transcribed. We ended up in a court-ordered mediation. The mediator, a no-nonsense woman named Mrs. Gable, looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Walter and his lawyer blustered. Mr. My last name is unstable. He fled a family dinner. He backed out of a handshake deal. Diana was in full bereaved mother mode. He broke my baby's heart. She can't sleep. She's lost so much weight. He humiliated her. Bianca just sat there, sullen, staring at me with dead eyes. He owes us. He ruined everything. My lawyer, a shark named Helen, just smiled. Helen, Mrs. Gable, my client has a slightly different recollection. You claim he verbally agreed to this contract? Walter, absolutely. He said, you're right, it's not a big deal. A clear verbal contract. Helen, interesting. Then why? She said, pulling out a tablet. Did your daughter text my client after he supposedly agreed? Just sign it. Stop making this a thing. She played the text-to-speech. Bianca sank lower in her chair. Helen, and Mr. Walter, if he agreed, why did you leave him this voicemail after he left? She played Walter's voicemail. The audio was crystal clear. Call me back. We can renegotiate your stipend. Walter's face went from smug to the color of putty. So he agreed, but you still needed to negotiate the stipend after he left? Curious. Now, about this countersuit. You're suing for $150,000 in wedding costs and distress. But my client has receipts showing he paid the $15,000 in non-refundable deposits you're claiming as your loss. So you're suing him for money he paid because he refused your extortion and because you stole his ring. The mediator just looked at them. Ma'am, she said to Diana. You sold the ring? Diana, cornered, went on the offensive. It was my right. He humiliated my daughter. It was a non-refundable deposit for her pain. Thank you for that admission. Here is a copy of the police report where that action is listed as theft by conversion. Mrs. Gable, we are prepared to drop the civil suit if and only if the defendants are willing to face the felony criminal charges for selling $20,000 of stolen property. Check. Mate. Their lawyer started frantically whispering. Walter was sweating through his suit. Their $150,000 countersuit was dropped so fast it broke the sound barrier. The mediator looked at them. You are going to pay him for the ring, or I'm ending this mediation, and you can explain to a criminal judge why you sold an item you admit wasn't yours. To avoid felony charges, they agreed. They had to pay me the $20,000. And here's the best, most realistic part. They didn't have it. The landscaping business was, as I suspected, a house of cards. They were leveraged to the hilt to pay for that big, empty house. Last week, my lawyer received a cashier's check for $20,000. I found out from a mutual friend that Walter and Diana had to take out a high-interest second mortgage on their precious house to pay me. The family management account they were building to save their failing business cost them their home's equity. Let's do the math. I lost $15,000 in deposits. I paid my lawyer $8,000. Sharks ain't cheap. Total losses, $23,000. I got back $20,000. In the end, this victory cost me $3,000 and 4 months of my life. This is the real part. Revenge isn't profitable. It's just justice. I'm still in the red, but I'm free. I saw them in the parking lot after the mediation. Bianca ran up to me, her face blotchy and ugly. Are you happy now? She spat. Are you happy? You've ruined us. We're going to lose the house, all because of you. I looked at her, the woman I'd loved. No, Bianca, I said. I'm not happy, but I'm not your ATM. I didn't do this. You did. You saw that contract. You saw your future, and you said, just sign it. You made your choice. She just stared at me, the words finally landing. I got in my car. I drove away. I'm single. I'm out $3,000. I have to start over emotionally, but I have my salary, all of it, for the rest of my life, and that's a pretty good deal.